Hey, hello guys, it's Mark from the RC 68 in France, and today I have something to show you. I'm really excited to show you. You know, I love big cars, manias, low kV, big motors, but I also like to see when the brands do some stuff for beginners and for the guys who not have a big budget to do RC. And this is the case of Maverick. Maverick is apart from HPI Racing, who is on the way to reborn once again, and they have decided to do a new range of the Quantum Maverick. So we have now here the Maverick Quantum2. Difference between the first version, we have here a shorter wheelbase, the car is lighter. This is for many reasons. First of all, you know that the price from oil is going higher, transport price is going higher, so they decide to do something new and keep a lower budget. You still can have the Quantum 1 in flux version, or I don't know if it's already on the market in brushed or it's only in brushless. There is also the Maverick XT version with 3 differential, which I really like. For me it's really better to have 3 differential in the car for a beginner. It's a little bit higher in price, it's a little bit longer, but I like the size you have. I also liked the size from the Quantum V1, the Truggy or the monster truck. But back in time, remember, I had the V1 version and I was really highly disappointed from that car. Too many weak points. We even had some spindle who bent after just a little jump from so high, maybe a meter long. But this is something they quickly changed, and they also have upgraded the Quantum V1 in a V2. I don't know if it's V2 on the box, but they clearly changed many things on the car to do it better. Because at the beginning we had 2 weak A-arms, 2 weak CVD, 2 weak transmission, and all this is now different. And here we have the V2 version. This little dude here is brushed. You can have it in brushless. The brushless version has a cool electronic, the same as the Quantum V1 Flux. It's a hobby ring electronic, I really like it. You have a bash bar more in the car. And another point which I not especially liked at the Quantum V1 was the tires. The tires was good, they had enough grip, they was really resistant, but they was way too heavy, and heavy tires is something good for the transmission, sorry. So this is something they changed also. We have lighter tires, we have a smaller car, a little bit lighter also, and we have now, instead of a PVC shell, we have a Lexan shell, and this is a great new, because I really fear it that they continue to do this PVC material, which is really disappointed, because you cannot avoid to do an overhaul or crash at some time, especially with a monster truck, and this PVC material was really bad. Now we have a Lexan body, way more resistant. They also work at the stiffness, and because the car is light, I think this is really going to be okay and last a little bit longer. I love the tire, feels good, smells good. We have new A-arms, tougher, brighter. We have, instead of a pivot ball, we have a traditional suspension system with hubs and front and rear. Double Z bearings in the car. It's easy to maintain because you can easily put some oil after each run on the bearing. For sure, sealed bearings are good also, but for a beginner I think this is really enough. The suspension setup was also changed, because this is also something I found was way too hard at the Quantum Flux, and here you see that it's way better managed. We are really cool and soft in the back, a little bit tougher in the front. You have a nice feeling on the suspension when you put the car on the bench here. I already have the battery in. You see, you have some space to put it up to have enough ground clearance to go off-road and not a too high center of gravity to not overroll. I love the fact that we have a higher chassis and center than in front and rear. This is something I miss a little bit at the Armor range. They're also just flat. It's more like a truggy as a monster truck. We have flex body mount. We have flex upper arms. We have flex steering arms. And this is a really good point for a beginner. We have steering, which you can change the hardness here from the spring. You can tighten or untighten the servo saver. That's a cool point. We have a hobby ring ESC 60 amp. You can choose LiPo or any nickel metal hard drive. You can choose with or without reverse gear. We have a 550 can brush motor. You know, I'm not a freak from that. For me, brush motor from the last century. I really prefer to have a weak brush system as a good brush system, because you still have less amp draw, you drive longer and a little bit faster. But to the one who has more power, how I said in the beginning, you still have the flux version. This is really an entry-level car. This is why also I take it with the brush system to show what is the performance. The plus point from the brush system is the start price. You don't need to buy some super high priced battery also to run this stuff. With the 5000 LiPo battery, we're gonna have a cool run time. Just take care of one thing when you drive such a battery with 5000 milliamp. The run time, because it's gonna be long, it's gonna be hot on the motor. So take care, check out any 10 minutes your motor temp. If you drive cool, it's not a problem, but if you put the car on the ground and drive, always be on the throttle, take care on your brush motor. We have a flex front and rear bumper and an adjustable wheelie bar, who is also at the flex bumper. That's a good point. I really like that. We have two differentials with 4 satellites, front and rear. We have a fast way to get at this differential. You only have to put away 10 screws. It goes within 2 minutes, it's done. You put the 2 screws from the shocks away, 4 screws here at the bumper, 4 screws at the diff cap, pull the cap away, and they pull the differential out. So really fast and easy access to the differential. 3 screws to pull the motor out. To go at the sleeper unit, it's a little bit longer, but it's still fast. You have 2 screws in there and 4 underneath. Then you can pop out the rear axle. Same thing in the front, 2 screws here and 4 in the top. 1 at the steering, and you can pop out the front. We have a plastic gear servo. It's enough for such a light car. Should be a 7 kilogram servo. We're gonna test it. The car is water resistant, and anytime I tell the same, I know, but for me it's an important point. If you are a beginner or if you not have a big budget, you go for a cheaper car like this one. Do not expect to can do the same with such a car than with an Arma. What's the name? I forgot it. The Arma Granite 3S. For sure, it can do the same. It has not the same power, it has not the same toughness, but it's a huge difference of price. This one should be around 200 and something euros here in France in the brushed version. The brushless version should be around the 300. It's really way cheaper than Traxxas or Arma and all that other stuff. After the run in brushed, I'm gonna put a brushless motor in there, but only in 2S, because it's gonna be way enough with such a light car. I love the way it looks, I love what they improved at the car, and we're gonna test it now. You can put some grub screws in the A-arms if you want to lower the car, but it's a monster truck, so I'm surely not gonna do that. I'm not gonna change something here because I love this flex plastics here. Something just have to take care, because here it's open at the main gear, at the main shaft, is that gravel and stones can go in there and destroy this, especially also here in the brush motor, the vent. So take care of that. It's always a weak point at such type of cars. Gravel is the worst for our RC cars as water. Don't go in the water, it's water resistant. That means the rain has stopped, the grass is a little bit wet, the street is a little bit wet, you can drive, but do not go in water condition. You can go in the water, but after that you have to disassemble the car to clean it. So I only can recommend, if you're a beginner or have a low budget, to avoid water and gravel, a stone, especially little stones. So hard gravel, dirt and grass and a parking mold, it's just nice with this type of car. You have a LED light system in the car, front and rear, in the bumper. Here underneath the wheelie bar is the rear one. They just not put in the front, they put a rear and a front one. And you can put it on or off at the radio system with this knob here. That's cool. I like the feeling from the radio system. It's 2.4 gigahertz for sure. You have the possibility to change the dual rate from the steering here with this knob. And you can change the EPA, this means the end position adjustment, from the throttle and from the brake. That means if you give the car a little dude who is really a beginner in the car, who has no feeling, you can just give him a little less power on throttle. The brake is already soft, maybe you don't need to soften the brake, but if it's drive too fast for a little kid, don't hesitate to let him a little bit less throttle here. You can for sure change the trim here. You can change the direction from the servo or from the ESC if you need, if you put another one in there or something with that. The batteries are in the grip. That's cool. So you have a small part underneath. The radio system is light. It's not too big. It's not too small, especially for kid. It's an all-rounder. I think that's a nice size, and even a kid with small hands will have no problem here to use this radio system. That's something I like. Take care with the sleeper unit, because if you don't know how a sleeper works, go to check out how it works. It's important with a sleeper unit to check out if it's not tight enough. The car will have some little strange noise at throttling on. The sleeper will sleep, but if it sleeps too much, you're gonna overheat it and burn it out. If the sleeper is too tightened, you're gonna have some cool reaction anytime you hit the throttle, but you're gonna stress the rear differential. For sure you're gonna have some wear or some destruction here in the rear. Not with a brush system. A brush system is really soft at start, not a high hand power, so it's not a problem. ESC can take 3S, but not the motor. This is a 2S LiPo or a 6 or 7 cell nickel metal high drive system. Do not pull here a 3S on this motor, you're gonna burn the motor out. If you want to drive it with 3S, you have to change the motor with a motor who is able to take 3S. If you want to put a brushless in there, it's also no problem. But I recommend, if you want to drive a brushless, to take the brushless version. It's still a cool price, and you have some different upgrade. Like I said before, you have the bash bar more, and I guess they have also the I'm not sure if you have the sway bars. Personally, I don't need it on a monster truck. I need no sway bar on a monster truck. So I hope that the weather outside will be soon good enough to try this car and you have to know that today, Monday, what's the date? The 20th. This car is today released in the shops. So go ahead, go to the HPI Maverick website, go to your favorite local hobby shop and take a look at this car. We're gonna see after the runs, especially in Brushless, if it's gonna be in my top 5 favorite 110 scale cars. Monster truck. My favorite monster truck for the moment is the Rival MT10. Price wise, weight wise, power wise, also it's cheap to repair. I like also really much the Traxxas Stampede V1 because his high center of gravity is really high ground clearance. It's a really bad boy in off-road, but he has some weak point is also, and he also is much higher in price. The new Stampede 2S and 3S are on the way, also way higher in price, tougher than the old one, but also a little bit bigger. And the toughest, still for the moment for me, and also the one who has the most power out from the box, is still the Arma 3S. Arma Granite or Nero are the toughest, but also the heaviest and have the more power. That's something you're gonna pay with runtime. It's cool to have a nice, powerful car. It's really heavy. It's about 4 kilograms, of almost the weight from a 1/8 scale 4 or 6's buggy, but you are way to have the same power in there. So that's why I prefer the Rival MT10 for beginners and low budget. And we're gonna see if this little dude gonna catch up with all them. One is sure, price-wise, it's gonna be nicer with the price, and I'm really confident in what all was upgraded here. We have new CVD, you have new drive cups, new A-arms. The plastic is really different than before. You have this new Lexan body. I really like this new radio system, and all this for a cool little price. And the truck also looks so good. Stay tuned for the rest. Have a nice day, and once you get one in your hand, feel free to come back at this video and give us in a comment your thoughts about this car, because this is really something I like here. This is what I want to reach with my channel, is that the subs tell me I have this car, I love this, I don't love that, I change this, don't do that. And I want to hear this from many people. So if someone wants to buy a car, he comes on my channel, you see what I mean about the car, and you see in the comments many other point of view. So it's much easier for beginners to pick a choice on each car they want. Bye guys, have a nice day.